Good morning and welcome to the Forge. So it's been a minute since we've been on a video and life has been kind of crazy lately. However, we did end up making a little cool little knife that I'd never done before. I didn't video the process because it was a prototype and I really didn't want to mess it up. And I know you guys like that process, but I wanted to try it and just focus on the knife versus the YouTube channel. Uh, anyway, it goes. You can't really see it from where you're at, but I will do a close-up video of it shortly. It's got a 1080 high carbon edge, and then a wrought iron wolf tooth pattern weld, and then a wrought iron and higher carbon 1075 twist, and then another wrought iron on the spine. So it was a very complicated knife, and it was supposed to be about this much longer and about this much thicker because I was going for a Seax. My persona is actually changing over to a Varangian guard, and I wanted to have a weapon for myself. But where I'd never done this extravagant pattern welding, it was extremely difficult to get to the what I wanted, and a lot of my welds failed throughout the process. So just being honest and accountable for everything. Make sure my mic's on. But yeah, it's life was crazy, and I really didn't feel like YouTubing it. And we're gonna start again. As you can hear in the background, we've got the forge going, and it's going to be probably. I don't want to use more wrought iron on it, unfortunately. Wrought iron is a very hard commodity to come by, and I want to save what I have for commission pieces or documentable. No, excuse me. I want to save it for my A&S projects in the SCA, so they are more and 100% as authentic and historically accurate as I can get, aside from blooming or putting my own iron ore into a bloomery forge and making it myself, which is on the agenda. We just can't do it yet. However, today is going to be about getting the low layer twist and getting that going. So here we go.
So as you can see here, this is the original knife that I was making, and each individual ridge was something that I had to hand file in, and you can really see the twist pattern right here. It was a nine layer twist pattern that I forged out and then twisted, and it's 1075 or excuse me 1095 and wrought iron, and then the middle layer between there and the edge is also wrought iron. You can't really see it, but the spine itself also is wrought iron. So it goes wrought iron, it's, the twist, then wrought iron, wolf tooth, forge weld, and then the 1085 blade. Just having everything come up to heat. The hexagon bar that you see is actually 1085. It's going to become the edge portion of the blade, and then the large billet that you see is going to become the hopefully a double layer twist or a herringbone pattern twist. Yes, I use the press quite a lot and really enjoy it. I've forged plenty of blades out by hand, but having the press there really saves time and wear and tear on my joints.
So full disclosure here, you can see that little chink in the bottom, that is not a successful forge weld. So we cut it off, and we'll probably end up grinding that out. Excuse me, or cutting it out and using the rest for something else. But as you're forging, you start to see bubbles in the material that aren't supposed to be there, and well, that's the risk we take, right? However, that being said, we still have a rather large chunk left to work with, so that should be more than enough to get our knife done. I'm going to take and grind this little piece out right here, right now, before we get to forging, because if you don't cut that out immediately, it'll just grow and grow and grow and become an even more of a problem later on. So I'm glad we caught it early in the thick stages, and we'll grind it off and get it cleaned up. So here you can see the layers. There we go. It ended up actually grinding a lot more off than I wanted to, which is why it's so at an angle, because I didn't want to really lose all this down here. I wanted to grind off this up here, because all this down to the bottom is still good. The top is where it was, and I etched it because I wanted to really see whether or not I got all of the failed weld out, and it looks like we did. So back to the forge.
Back to forging, going much thicker on this build. I discovered on the last one that I didn't use enough material on the last build, like I said, and it came in way too small. So I wanted to make sure and go up to about 15 millimeters on this one, which is probably still probably too thick, honestly. However, I wanted to make sure that it's more successful and I have enough material to work with. So I didn't quite draw out enough on the first bit. So in this little section, I'm adding another couple inches to the build.
We are here. This is going to be the edge of the knife, and I'm going super thick. Probably take that down another millimeter or two. The rest is right around 15, but I'm going to call that good there because I'm almost out of propane. So we are at 17 right there, and then 15 right there. So that's roughly a 9-inch weapon. By the time we're done with it, it'll probably be a little bit longer. Yeah, so just over half an inch thick, square bar, and we're going to run with it.
Now that the blade was done, I wanted to get back to work on the 7-layer twist. This is kind of another section that got frustrating to me because I started seeing a lot of burn marks, and I kind of go into it later or at the beginning. I don't remember exactly where, but when I was first originally making the spatha that this billet came from, it was the first billet I made ended up getting too hot and burning out. I'm pretty sure I go over this at the end of the video, but as I'm working on it, I'm starting to notice the same burn pattern in this billet as the original billet. I hate making videos like this. Um, so this was the 7-layer or 10 to 12 layer billet that I started. Um, I actually started it for the Ilera Padal sword that I was going to try to make, but it ended up failing and got this really weird. It's almost like I was burning the material uh, when I was forge welding it together, and I realized that my forge at 20 pounds of pressure to the to the forge from the propane tank actually got it too hot and started causing the material to break down. I thought I fixed it when I made this other billet off that build, and it ended up actually burning this one too, I think. So I'm gonna come up close. You can kind of start to see um, these cracks right through there. Um, I'm gonna try to grind them out, and where I'm not forging, or I realize that I don't need to turn my forge up that high, we're gonna try to, like I said, you can really see it right through there. I'm gonna try to grind it out and see if we can forge it down, continue to forge for this project. We still got a long ways to go. We still got a long ways to go with this. Um, right now, it is roughly 20 millimeters thick by 30 millimeters wide, and we have to take it all the way down to 15. So that's where we're at with that. So I'm almost out of propane, so I shut the forge down a little early, and this is just going to be one of those days that that we live and learn. So if anything, I've got a couple more stacks of stuff we can make, and we can go from there. But unfortunately, I think today is done, and this video is done for the day. It's just one of those things, the open honesty about it all. So I'm going to grind it down and see what we can come up with, and then we'll go from there. So we ended up taking off quite a bit up more than I anticipated or really wanted to. Um, you kind of see here, this corner bit there is, we had to take quite a bit off of there. Oh, that's the nature of the beast. Really, is if you get in a hurry or something like that, you end up missing some steps and not really getting a good forge weld. And I think that was the case with this billet. Was when I was working on that spatha, the first one failed. It seems to be an oncoming, reoccurring theme. And anyway, that I forged these out super quick. I'll grab the other one.
sorry, they're going off camera, but I know I've showed this before on my social medias, but you can, this is your other billet. You can see that it failed here. There's a definitive crack. Um, and then also, if I get this to focus, um, you can see the cracks in the billet. They actually go down probably about 1/4 inch into the billet itself. Oh, that's a good one right there, right here. You see that it definitely goes down into there. And I like I said, after consulting with a few other blacksmiths, bladesmiths, and New Jersey steel baron, they said that my forge was probably just too hot. And I don't know what I did differently or what I did to the forge to change it to make it go hotter, but it 20 pounds is what I usually was forge welding at, and I recently discovered that I could do it at 15. So uh, got in a rush. That's the moral of the story. Got in a rush with this and failed it. Failed part of it, not all of it. Ended up cutting the slant off there just to see how far the the failed weld went. I mean, we started way up here and it ended up failing clear back to there. And still plenty of material to work with. I think we're still going to go forward with it. There's a few little teeny tiny spots that are mine. Hang on, let me see if I can find a pointer. Minorly concerning. See if I could point them out to you on the camera. Of course, it's not going to focus, but okay. So I got it to kind of focus. Hopefully, it doesn't go foobar. We can kind of see this line right here is a little bit lighter than the layer above and definitely lighter than the layer below. So this dark layer here is actually the higher carbon layer. So that's the 1075. And then this layer up here is the nickel 15 and 20. It has a little bit of nickel in it, so it resists the acid etch. Oh, there we go. That's much better. It resists the acid as a lot more, so it comes out more shiny. And the carbon gets eaten away, and so it becomes darker. But anyway, you can see this white line right through here. It's oxidization from the acid. And so it's where the crack was or the failed weld was, but I feel like I've got enough of it away that we can continue forging and see what ends up happening. Um, Here's a really good view of the layers. You can see the light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark. And on the other side too, a little dirty, sorry. But you can definitely see the layers there as well. And there's a little bit of one right here that you can see, a little bit of that oxidization from the acid. So that is also a little bit of a concern too. But I think it's gone enough, and you can't really see it over here because it's a good way to tell, is it? So it's right here. You follow it to this front end, it should go, you should see it right in here as well to see how deep it goes. And I don't see it at all right through there. So I think it's just surface level. And once we start forging, I might grind away a little bit more later to see, but I do think we're going to be okay. And this one is a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 layers left. So we've ground quite a bit away. Anyway, so that's where we're at. I do think we're going to be okay with this one, especially where we're not going to be at forge welding temperatures anymore. So it should be good.
Anyway, this is it. We've got the other blade, or the edge portion, sitting in that vat of kitty litter. It is going to be, it's just normalizing right now after forging it down from a significantly bigger bar to the smaller bar that it is. And that's that. So thank you guys.